Also joining us this evening is Dr. Rajeev Jayadevan, Scientific Advisor of the Indian Medical Association, joining us from Cochin in Kerala. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here on Mirror Now. I want to go across first to
After 13 years of agony,
Dr. Rajeev Jayadevan. If you look at the figures, sir, 20,728 in the last 24 hours. And if you compare it, I mean, just a cursory look at another state, say Uttar Pradesh, where on Saturday the total cases reported with 32, just 32. So, why this disparity, and why is it that we have 50% of the all India cases coming from one particular state?
Yeah, these are excellent questions, and epidemiologically it's important to answer, and we have experts here, including Dr. Laharia as well. So I will answer the 50% part. See, when you use a percentage, you're actually creating a fraction. And in a fraction, there's numerator and the denominator. So the Kerala numbers are the numerator. When you look at the denominator is composed of the entire country's figures. And unfortunately, all regions of the country do not have the same testing capacity. So a fraction becomes valid only if all the reported numbers come from similar reporting ability. So the case finding capacity of different regions varies. That is an acknowledged fact. Some states are not able to find all the cases. So that's one. So the 50% may be an exaggerated figure, but that is not to say that Kerala doesn't have cases.
Too large, let's just admit. I mean, you're saying the testing difference may be there, but still.
Maybe, yeah. 50% is an exaggerated figure. That's one. And second is, Kerala does have an ongoing number of cases that are coming in. But the good thing is the healthcare systems are not overwhelmed at all as of today. Now, there's plenty of room for patients. See, remember, a river is only as deep as how tall you are. For a very short person, a very shallow river can be dangerous. Likewise, if your healthcare system lacks capacity, even a tiny surge can be more dangerous than a larger surge in a better equipped region. So, which is why I always say that when you look at a very large region, it is important not to compare different states or whatever you want to call it, different towns. So it's important we look at region by region. Right now, the pandemic is surging towards the southern end of India, towards the west coast, and also in the northeastern states. Now, the question is, if you look at the spread, you talked about the R factor, Afrida. So the R factor basically depends on multiple things. One, how many people are susceptible to it. Susceptible for our viewers basically means, will you get the infection or not if somebody puts the virus on you? So people who don't have antibodies tend to pick up more virus. So Kerala has the highest number of people who have not seen the virus yet. So clearly the spread will be more. And secondly, there are other factors. See, if I want to spread my virus to someone else, assuming I'm a patient, I can't spread it directly. The virus has to travel through invisible droplets from me to the next person. And how do these droplets travel? There may be weather conditions, for example, that are involved. These areas that's the northeast states and Kerala and along the west coast of India have the highest relative humidity in India, well in excess of 80%. Now, humidity is known to affect, as you know, in rainy seasons, you get a lot of viral fevers. Why do you get that? Because viruses spread more efficiently in these areas. So there are many steps that actually cause the R factor to go up, one of which is crowd behavior. Now, I can assure you from my end, in this part of the world, mass gatherings have been banned for a very long time. There are no mass gatherings at all. But the virus, where is it spreading? You know where is it spreading?
No, but the state just relaxed the curbs for Eid and then also increased the number of devotees for Sabrimala. So I'm not sure what you're saying about crowd control being absolutely accurate in Kerala, because questions are being raised even as we speak about why these relaxations were done, and other figures that we see today are a result of that.
Gathering where a lot of people gather together, all right? So when relaxations are given for Eid, it means that people can go and visit other people, people can go shopping and things like that. There has not been a mass gathering for as long as I can remember in Kerala. So please do not confuse a mass gathering for relaxation of restrictions. So that's one. Second is the virus is spreading silently within homes. And what we are also picking up is vaccinated people, just like unvaccinated people, are also picking up the virus silently and spreading it. They're not getting sick, But when they socialize with other people, say, for example, your sister comes and visits you. She's fully vaccinated, you're fully vaccinated, but your family is not. So your sister might give you the virus, even though she's fully vaccinated, and you could spread it around. So it's important we send out this message to everyone that just because you're vaccinated, you must not drop your guard. Now, it's impossible, if you ask me, to ask people to wear masks inside their own homes. It is not practical. You can ask people to mask up outside the homes, and Kerala has excellent mask compliance for the last year and a half.
But these are challenges that apply everywhere, Dr. Jayadevan. You will concede that the same applies to other states. But yes, I take your point that it may not be a very fair process to compare one state to the other. The conditions, the existing conditions may be very different. Dr. Laharia, what do you have to say on this? I mean, we have heard much of this justification from various experts from Kerala, saying, of course, also citing the density of population. We just heard the humidity factor. The large number of susceptible population is also being cited as a reason, Dr. Laharia, because what we are given to understand is it's as if the state has become a victim of its own success. Because it tightened the curbs in the first two waves and managed to control the transmission, now the susceptible population is larger, and with a new variant, it is but natural that the numbers are going to be higher in those pockets. Is that a fair justification, Dr. Laharia?
Yes, that is very fair assessment what you say. So we know that till now and till a few months ago, some parts of the country, southern parts of the country and northeast were not affected that much as other parts of country like northern India or central India. So, of course, we know that the maximum proportion of susceptible population is in those states where the currently circulation is happening. And this has been proven by the Sero survey. We know that Kerala, as part of 4th National Sero survey, had found the lowest sero prevalence, which means the highest proportion of population which is susceptible. Now, it shows the success of some of these states in containing the spread. But also it is happening at the time, and we know through genomic surveillance data that Delta variant reached to Kerala state little later than other states. So now the states which have a susceptible population and have a variant which is more circulating is transmitting there. And that's what is happening in majority of these states. But I would go back to Dr. Jayadevan's point that while it's important that we use these national figures and then compare that what proportion is being contributed by one state, but that will be simplistic approach. The reason is that Dr. Jayadevan also highlighted that a better performing state data from better performing state cannot be clubbed with the poorly performing states. And I will take 30 seconds in explaining this part that we know through the National Sero survey that
Cooking in a poorly designed kitchen? Try Live Space. Home interiors designed for beauty and function. Delivered from start to finish. Live Space, your space.
For every confirmed, officially reported case, there are 30 infections across the country, which essentially means if 40,000 cases are being reported officially in India, the expected number of infection on that day would be approximately 12 lakh. Now, we know for Kerala, this number is around 1:6, which essentially means they are picking one case out of every 6. So if Kerala is reporting 20,000 cases, essentially that day, approximate number of infection in Kerala that day would be around 120,000. Now, if we look at the national figure, which is 13 lakh cases or 12 lakh cases for 40,000 cases, Kerala has around 120,000. So essentially the infection in the Kerala is 10%. So the point is that a simplistic analysis put undue pressure and burden and responsibility on a state which is performing better. And in the long run, this can be disincentive for the states to do better, strengthen their surveillance system. It disincentivize the better performing and good reporting, which is unfortunate. So any such analysis, it should be used in the context that from where it is coming, and it should incentivize that they are doing better reporting. So Kerala, southern parts of the states, we already know that.
Absolutely. I take that point, sir, because this has been well emphasized. A word of caution when we compare data of one state to the other. Point taken, because as per government data also, from what I can see, Bihar, it seems, has done the most under-reporting of COVID-19 cases, detected 1 in 134 cases. Kerala did the least underreporting. As per detected, 1 in every 6 cases. So yes, I get your perspective, Dr. Laharia. I want to bring in Dr. Vishal Rao, a member of the COVID task force in Kerala. Dr. Rao, it is so unfortunate to see what's happening in Bengaluru, as we just reported, mass gatherings by local Congress workers happening at a time when the state is seeing a spike. So clearly, when it comes to containment measures, we see that the governments of the day are not able to handle it. Whether it is making relaxations, keeping religious sentiment in mind or political sentiment in mind, one reason or the other, we tend to lower the guard. And this can prove to be extremely costly because it is never one state's problem. It invariably becomes the entire country's story in due course.
Yes, Afrida, thank you first of all for asking me to come in. I agree completely on these points. In fact, just a couple of days back, the scientific
a spike. Now, how do we reconcile this? Because I just heard Dr. Guleria also, and yes, so we have to understand this because a number of indicators are spoken about. One of them is the Sero surveys. Dr. Laharia, can you throw some light on this issue? Because there seems to be a bit of an ambiguity in this. For instance, in Tamil Nadu, 66% of people have developed antibodies as per a recent Sero survey, yet the state has been witnessing a spike. Now, how do we reconcile this? Because I just heard Dr. Guleria also saying that this Sero survey percentage is no indicator of herd immunity, so we should not be misled by it in any way.
So the first part is that herd immunity concept is not that much applicable in a pandemic, especially when it is being caused by a novel virus. That's one. Second part is that as the transmissibility of virus or a variant increases, the threshold for herd immunity goes up higher. So initially, when the original strain was circulating, it was being considered that if population immunity of around 70% is achieved, it will be a threshold where the transmission will be slowed down. But now we know that Delta variant is twice more transmissible than the original variant. So the threshold is being considered 85 to 90%. Now, just remember in a short term that even with the 100 vaccine, which is 80 to 85% efficacious, even if it's administered to 100% population, even then we cannot achieve 85% or beyond that kind of immunity level. So that concept of herd immunity is not applicable. Second part is that we need to remember that this is a rolling basis because people who are getting infected, let's say in March and April, over a period of time, by September, they would lose some of the immunity. We don't know what fraction would lose that immunity, but people will be becoming susceptible. And that's what is happening. That though people have antibodies, but we don't know protective threshold or many other unknowns. So we should keep assuming and that they are susceptible. That's one. But second part is that what we need to remember that even with the immunity, and some of this is coming from antibody, some of this is coming from vaccine, the people can be protected after vaccination, but they can still transmit the virus because their virus can survive in their nose and throat, and they can pass on the virus. And this can be circulating in the community, can infect people who are susceptible, and can result in the emergence of newer variants. So there are many threats. What we need to communicate and tell people that get vaccinated for your own protection, but keep masking for protection of entire community. And as long as there are susceptible people, there is a risk, and we cannot take that kind of risk.
Afrida,
absolutely, very good points. In fact, Dr. Laharia, I would have to emphasize, and I need to close the show, I need to quickly sum up these important things that we've picked up. But thank you so much, Dr. Laharia, Dr. Vishal Rao, and Dr. Rajeev Jayadevan. I just want to emphasize here what I picked up really is that the susceptibility factor applies to everyone, even those who are double vaccinated, because clearly, yes, like we just heard, it can be a protection for yourself, but vaccinated people can be carriers. So there is no respite from wearing a mask. Let's all be extremely careful. We help ourselves and we help others as well. We're together in this. That is something we cannot afford to forget. Thank you all for joining us, and thanks for watching.